This episode on the new podcast studio is a conversation with my friend Ryan Reid. I hope you enjoy.
Life has changed since I started. I've put so much into helping others. I need to now focus on me, right? Maybe I need a little bit more love for myself, a little bit more focus on myself, because that song, wow, that'd make for a great photograph. So I started being like, what do I need to do to, just like you starting a podcast, what do I need to do to get everything off the ground? It was like, what do I need to do to start getting photo passes so I can actually shoot these concerts? So just kind of, hit that chord, and then he brought his guitar up and he made a face, and I don't know if he was looking at me or the crowd behind me. I don't care, but it's a super emotive picture of him, and it's in that photo. And that exact thing is never going to ever happen again.
Never.
I mean, not quite Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, you kind of like, are you kind of Reynolds? Because you know what I mean? It almost sounds like you go in there and then you stop a little lazy. Okay, let's keep it right.
Much easier.
How are you, brother?
Man, I'm doing good.
Thank you for coming. So I've been trying to bring back the podcast forever for one reason or another reason, always a hustle or whatever, but right here, right now.
Yeah.
Present time.
Listen.
First episode, a new...
Life happens and you just kind of go with it. And I started a podcast and I needed it at that point. Now I have no interest in carrying it forward, but you find what you need to do and you make sure it happens. And
yeah, we got to talk about that because that's something been happening a lot with me. That feeling of things that you have to do, always something, right? But yeah, man, to tell you the truth, the podcast, I love it. I wish I can come, sit here, and one of my friends is there, and we start talking, and it's recorded, and then I go to do whatever I have to do with paintings or tattoos or whatever, and the podcast goes in there by itself. That's my goal.
Yeah.
But right now, because my craziness of a control freak mostly, and also because this is like a hobby, it's not like I'm, I'm making tons of money or investors or anything like that. So right now, I do everything myself. So, I'm going to move the podcast. I have to move everything and find a way to connect everything again.
Yeah.
Things that is not my normal career or anything. Things I have to learn and then make it work. And then when it's finally recording, it's always like, did I plug everything all right? Okay, everything seems to be working well. And then it's like, okay, editing now.
It's like a creative. So like, you don't want to dive into the painting unless you know that you're going to finish it, or you don't want to dive into the tattoo. It's like when you're in a tattoo session, right? And you're at that point where you gotta decide, do I tell my customer to come back, or do I just push through and get it done all now? Because I'm in the moment, I need to do it all now. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like all in. It's like,
yeah, but the beauty with tattooing for me is that I get 100% excited in the morning doing the designs or whatever. At the end of the day, we shook hands and you go on your way. I don't have to go to your house and clean your tattoo every day and grab. That's kind of the podcast.
Yeah.
I love talking. But then all the editing and stuff, it just absorbs a lot of my time.
Yeah.
But other than that, I love it.
Yeah.
How is sounding? Is good?
Yeah. Everything sounds
well?
good. Yeah.
Perfect. I hope it records well. It's always that feeling.
It will.
So it's crazy because I've been without recording the podcast for a long time. I did a couple of intents with a friend of mine, actually the guy who gave me this gift. But the point is that earlier today when I finished like reconnecting everything, right, to make sure it was well, I was doing a test and a friend of mine came over in that moment to visit, and we just sat and talked for 1 hour. I went 15 minutes or something. It's recorded as an episode.
Yeah.
But we don't know if we're going to ever upload it because he said things that he might not feel comfortable letting out like that for his personal, professional career.
Yeah.
And because we were talking and suddenly jumping to other conversation. I think it was super cool. The flow of the chat.
That's how I am. So when I was doing a podcast for a little bit, it was the same way. The first one, I think I wrote out what I wanted to cover. And then after that, I was just like, I'm so worried about covering everything that
you kind of not listening, right?
I can't listen to them and ask more questions. So I just started putting it away and just started talking about stuff. So I'd start here, and then you'd be 30 minutes into the conversation, we get on some other topic, and it would just end some other way that we didn't expect, but it would come out, and there'd be like a theme that we didn't plan for that would ultimately come out of that whole podcast. And
that, for me, that's the beauty of doing this. I never get like that. I don't have the kind of questions I want to ask or anything. As you noticed when you sat today, I said, there is something you want to talk about, just in case some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, it's like a bunch of different things. I want to learn always stuff. And I know that people have so many knowledge in there that we can pick, even if it's about general everyday stuff. But it's based on your own point of view. And I want to pick on that, you know. But also, for example, you're a photographer. So I want to know about that. I want to know about that. So it's about that, you know. But it's not like, okay, what kind of camera you use? What year were you born? It's like, I don't even want to remember that tomorrow, you know. I just want to know about you and the experience. And that's with everybody that have come before. It's like, I just want to know. Let's talk, you know.
Yeah.
And then conversation show. It's like talking. It's
I think what I've learned is it's important to get outside of your own viewpoint.
Yes.
Right? And this comes from, so a little bit of background. So I've been doing photography off and on for several years. I was into boudoir photography, which is incredibly focused on getting people to see themselves a different way than what they're used to seeing. Right.
So for the people that don't know, what is a boudoir?
Boudoir photography is more of an intimate portrait type photography. Usually males can do it too, but usually it's females that do it. And it's in lingerie or in a more intimate setting that's a little bit more personal and more vulnerable than saying and going just out to your local park with a photographer and getting pictures.
What would you say is behind the boudoir model? Let's call it the person that wants to do it. It's like a celebration of the beauty, right? On their own. It's not like what I see, what I love, and I've seen that a lot in your photos, in your portfolio. What I see is that it's completely different to like Victoria's Secret catalog, you know, or Pasarela, where everybody has to be a kind of perfect with a weird kind of, that they look beautiful. I'm not gonna say they look ugly or anything like that. I don't mean to say that way, but it's like almost a mannequin style of models that have to look in a certain way, all kind of look similar. In this case, more about who you are, and let's show you as a your own, in this case, femininity, if it's a female. But it's exploring like that personal beauty of everybody, right?
So with boudoir photography, it's usually 3 different types of clients. One is brides that are getting married and they want to give a very personal gift to their significant other before they get married. Very common. It's kind of that gift that you give somebody before the wedding. Super personal, super awesome. Plus, it's like a milestone in your life. And so it's like you want to remember how you look when you're this young bride versus, post kids. Which gets to the next category, which is moms who have had kids and now, maybe their kids are now a few years old and they want to remember what they feel like because they haven't felt like much like themselves for the last few years because they're giving everything to their kids and their body has changed. And then the last group of clients that you really see are people who are in their 30s or 40s who maybe are still single or maybe went through major weight loss and they want to celebrate something to empower themselves. So it's kind of the same idea. So it's like, it's not, you said it exactly how it is. It's to accept who you are and how you look now, not what you think you need to look like as a lingerie model. Right.
Yeah.
So, and we were talking before we started hitting record is that I'm actually stepping away from that now because it's from a photographer's point of view and from a business owner's point of view, it's a lot of work, not only in terms of the art of it, but also the coaching clients. You have to convince people that they're beautiful enough as they are now to spend money on themselves. So it's kind of a weird way of, you know what I mean? It's like, if I need to get a haircut or go to Nano to go get my haircut, right? I'm going to go to Nano and he's going to cut my hair. He knows I need to get my haircut. It's a thing, right? You're talking about going to a photography studio, stripping down and becoming vulnerable, in your vulnerable self and then taking photos of that and then paying somebody to do that. It's not the easiest model to sell, right? And from my perspective, I think just where I'm at in life, I don't have the emotional capacity to do that anymore, right? even though it's rewarding to have somebody come into their studio, they're nervous, start taking pictures, they come back, they see their final images, and they're like, oh my gosh,
transformation, right?
Is that me? And I'm like, yeah, it's only you. It's not AI. Like, this is you. Like,
exactly.
You know, this is you. You just need to see yourself from a different point of view. So this kind of goes back to my original point, right? Which is the beauty of podcasts is we only see things a certain way. And if you even think about how the algorithm on our social media is, it's tailored to us after a while and our own behaviors. So even though we think we're seeing the world outside of us, we're really not, because the algorithm's trained to see things through our point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So we just keep getting fed the same thing over and over again.
The confirmation bias that we need to stay there.
How do you think differently? How do you learn? How do you do anything? You're not learning by watching TikToks or Instagram Reels that teach you how to do some random craft or do something else.
Actually, I was talking to my friends earlier about that, and it's not just that you're not watching the videos to learn something. It's that you get annoyed when they take too long to show you the result, because you don't want to go through the process of seeing how something is made.
You just want
the quick hit. That's all. Show me the result.
Yeah.
That video, wow, it's a painting. It took 30 seconds to make that video. I don't want to watch a 30-second video to see how they did a painting.
Just show me the final
that in
picture.
reality it took you probably 3 months to finish. But you want so definitely you're not using that to learn anything.
Which is a tough thing too, because as a business owner, I feel like maybe tattooing is a little bit different. You know, your way of marketing might be going to a tattoo convention and putting your flash out there and or like doing a live, bringing a client in and live doing their like a full day session at so people can look at your art and see you in progress and see what it's like to work with you. And like that, and just people want tattoos are going to go and just find a tattoo shop, right? Marketing yourself through boudoir is very different, and it's extremely more difficult as a guy to do it.
I bet, yeah.
And so there was a lot behind it where I just got to the point I was like, life has changed since I started. Ooh, I've put so much into helping others. I need to now focus on me, right? Maybe I need a little bit more love for myself, a little bit more focus on myself, because I've been giving that to others for years now.
Yeah, man. Well said. And that's part of this process of, since last time I saw you, but we always see each other around. Yeah. You dropped like a bunch of weight and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think
you look healthier and younger and everything.
I think I'm down 80 pounds.
What the fuck? That was a lot.
Yeah.
Shit.
80 pounds. Life has changed. You know, I went through a divorce over the last year. And, you know, I've now shifted. So we can touch about this. Like, what was part of this whole transformation from my point of view was middle of figuring out divorce and stuff. I grew up super religious. You know the whole story, but I grew up Mormon. I do not look very Mormon at all anymore.
Sorry, I'm part guilty of that.
You know, I used to be a Mormon missionary, did the whole thing. And
from Alaska, no?
Yeah, from Alaska. And that's not who I am anymore. And I think, and I also got married young, and I had kids young, and a lot of my years in my 20s and 30s that most people are out partying and dating everybody and just experiencing life. I'm going to work, raising kids, rinse, cycle, repeat, and you lose yourself. And so I was in the middle of the divorce, and I was visiting friends in New Jersey, and we went to a concert.
Before you go, sorry, let me ask you this. And I don't know how to really ask without sounding intruding, so you have to filter and answer from wherever you want. But what I'm trying to say is this: did you got married? You already went to college. You already have your career where you were working on, or you guys worked together and then you got your career already being married and got the kids already being. When I met you, you used to work in the city for a company and take the train and do this kind of.
Yeah. So I I was only a few months back off my mission, and I got married. So I had no career. I had only a semester of college. and ended up getting a job in California where we got married, and just started working. And then within a year, we had Caitlin, our oldest, and you know, if you can believe it, she's 21 now, which is crazy. Wow. Which is a whole different dynamic now to have a kid that's 21 in your house. But she, you know, so, and I worked for a little bit longer before I decided to go back to school and finish my degree. So I was always like one step behind. So it wasn't just even getting married young and having a career and doing that. I didn't even have a career yet. I just got married because it was the thing you're supposed to do. Right. It was just kind of like follow the path, you know, that's laid out for you. And I didn't ultimately left.
All of it was inside of Mormon church still? Like the marriage was kind of like inside of the tradition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you lose out on all of that. Not only are you, from a religious standpoint, the whole idea is to get you outside of yourself and to put God first and everything else. So you're already not putting yourself first. But imagine multiplying that times 10, because not only are you religious at the time, but now you have kids. And I had my second kid when I was finishing my degree. So before I even made it to the lovely East Coast from California, I already had 2 kids.
Wow.
Right. And then, you know, we had 2 more, if you can believe it, once we were living here. And you lose a lot of that. And there's a specific moment that I remember, probably about a year and a half ago. I was at that concert, and it was a cover band. It's a great cover band that covers emo punk songs. They're out of Long Island. They're called the Warped Tour Band. They come to Connecticut.
What is the name of it?
The Warped Tour Band.
The Warped Tour Band.
Yeah, so they come.
Shout out.
Yeah, for real. They come through Connecticut a few times a year. But I was in Jersey at one of their shows, and songs started playing, and you know, people are moshing off to the side, and I'm almost in tears. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like supposed to be having fun and singing along, and here I am. I'm like tearing up because it was like I connected with something that I hadn't connected with for a really long time.
How old are you now? If you don't mind me asking.
Mid-40s, 44.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was married by 21 and had my first kid before I was 23. Right. And so that I was like, what the hell's going on? What is this? And I was like, this is who I was. One of the first things you and I connected on was our love for Metallica. Right.
Yeah.
You know, even a little kid in Alaska, and believe it or not, this is the last time they actually toured in Alaska. It was my senior year of high school. They came to Alaska. I went to the concert. I was at the front of the barricade. Lars Ulrich handed me his drumstick at the end of the concert. Still have that thing displayed in my bedroom. But it was like a weird reconnection, because it used to be a huge part of me, and I just kind of lost that. Right. And so from that, I started going to more shows. I started saying, okay, anytime anybody invites me out, you know, I need to not sit at home. I need to get out.
Did you feel that in that concert, it was a specific song, a specific lyric, or it was energy of the moment?
Absolutely. So that was in January, and there's a song called December by Neck Deep. And it talks about it being a long, lonely December. Right. Okay. So I'm in the middle of a divorce. That song's playing. They're playing that out loud, and I'm in tears. And they're like, my friends are like, "What's going on with him right now?" And I was like, I'll be fine. Just you guys have fun. Just keep going. So I started going to more concerts, and you know, here in Norwalk, we have a great place that has concerts at District Music Hall.
Yeah,
there's Park City Music Hall.
They're getting so good. Yeah, they're bringing a bunch of new, bolder shows than what it used to be.
Park City Music Hall is a great, you know, local place to go that always bring great acts through. And I started paying attention, like, wow, there's a lot of shows going on. So I started going to them all. And then I started doing my artist thing, which is I'm going to the shows and I'm having fun. And then I'm starting to like set up shots in my head. Like, wow, that light was really cool. The way they lit that song. Wow, that'd make for a great photograph. So I started being like, what do I need to do to, just like you starting a podcast, what do I need to do to get everything off the ground? It was like, what do I need to do to start getting photo passes so I can actually shoot these concerts? So I reached out to a friend out of who's also a tattoo artist out of New Bedford, Massachusetts, and she has a band. And I went up there and drove on a Friday night, drove up to Providence, shot their band to see if I could do it. And I was like, okay, I think I can. So then I just started building a portfolio, and believe it or not, and this is one of those moments where I think I lucked out.
You have photo from that specific show still on you?
Yeah.
Something that I want to do with the podcast, sorry, little thing, is I got to try to, like, because you mentioned, I got to try to put it like some of those corners in the screen so people kind of know what we're talking about, what is happening. Because I used to only put those photos in the beginning of the podcast
so
as
it
an
pops
intro.
up so they
I want to put it right there when you're talking about that show.
Because
I got to see if I can.
Because what will be cool about that is you can see where that is now until one of my most recent concerts, which I'm sure you know the band. But so I think where I lucked out was because of my experience in terms of what I do for my career, which is in the business world, but also through emails and learning how to write emails as a boudoir studio owner, is that I lucked out, and very early on with just only one band's performance underneath in my portfolio of concert photography, I was able to start getting photo passes.
Oh,
right. And one of the first,
so you have to kind of send a professional email with some sample of the quality of your work, and joking around or whatever, and you're available
because some people do that. They're like, hey, I got a camera, let me have a photo pass. And and the reason why photo passes are important is because if you're at a concert and you have the barrier at the front of the pit, you get to be in that space between the pit and the stage, uninhibited by anybody to take photos, right? At angles that, it's literally like you're sitting there right at the front of the pit. And some people have abused that. So I was able to, within the first few shows I was able to shoot Social Distortion, which is legendary punk band, when they passed through New Haven, and then it just kept building. And then I, looked at other music publications that, because if you send out emails in the name of a publication, you have an even better shot of getting concerts. So I started aligning myself to a publication and doing some creative writing with them as well, along with my photography. And I even started my own as a backup in case somebody already requested a show through this publication. I could use my own publication to do it. And so it's kind of turned into this whole other thing. So where has this taken me? I've shot a number of bands that I never thought I would have shot. Some that have passed just right through our own town, like Soul Asylum, which, Runaway Train, great classic rock song, until just earlier this month, which one of my all-time favorite metal bands, Kill Switch Engage.
I don't know those. Sorry.
Yeah. You would if I played them for you.
I was about to say that, man. I grew up with I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but I know so much music.
Yeah.
But I don't know name of bands or players or where is the band from or what year, nothing.
Well, that's what I started doing. I started paying attention to all the music I was listening to, and then you'd start being like, okay, wait, I listen to this artist a lot, actually. Yeah. And then the algorithm starts catching on to the fact you're paying attention to this one band, and then all of a sudden you see them touring, and then you write down the date off to the side. I'm like, okay, I need to reach out in a few months to see if I can get a photo pass. So what was cool about Kill Switch, and this is kind of like brings everything we talked about so far together, was that one of my favorite bands of all time, some of their music, some of their lyrics really hits differently. And they came through, and they hadn't toured for years, and they were doing a tour because they released an album, and it's 25 years as a band. So they came through New Haven earlier this month, and I actually had Caitlin and Owen, so my oldest and my second to youngest kid with me at that show.
Oh, sure.
And I had a photo pass for it. So I was able to photograph one of my favorite bands, have a couple of my kids there with me, seeing them and their dad, who's gone through this huge healing process, doing the thing he loves. And I didn't even realize it in the moment. I was so locked in creatively behind the camera, because it's fast. When you shoot a concert, you get first 3 songs at that photo pit at the front, and then you have to leave the photo pit and you can shoot from other parts of the venue, but you only get 15 minutes up front. So it's
take your chance.
It's the creative's dream, because you're just creating in 15 minutes, and it's pure chaos, and it's a metal concert. So there's crowd surfing and everything going on around you, and you're dodging people and everything else. But Jesse Leach, who's the singer, came down off the stage and was at the barricade singing into the crowd.
And you were right there.
And I was right behind him, and I'm just photographing, not paying attention. Later on, I'm editing. Two rows of people back is my son with metal fingers up in the sky. And then I was showing Caitlin, who was the other kid at the concert, that picture. She's like, look behind him.
Is there her? And
3 or 4, rows of waves of people behind that. She saw me taking a picture, so she puts her hands up as well. So I have this cool moment where I have one of my favorite metal bands, and my kids
by you,
photographed by me with a couple of my kids in it. Just they weren't looking at the camera. They were paying attention to him. They were lost in the moment, and it was kind of like one of those huge moments. It was a beautiful thing.
Put everything together for you.
I left the photo pit, and my son stayed. He was moshing a little bit up front, and Caitlin. It was so packed because it was a sold out show. I couldn't make it back to her. So then, seeing things from a different viewpoint, I'm kind of off to the side. I'm done taking photos, and I just get to watch my kids enjoy the music that I used to listen to. Now, what's cool about that is I started listening to that band when Caitlin was a kid.
Wow.
When I was going through it and sacrificing everything to go to school, to get a degree, and to do everything, that was one of the bands that carried me through that period.
Yeah, and now I was listening to the band bitch, it pay off.
I was like, oh. And it's crazy. And so for me, it's funny because my kids see me staying just as much time in front of the computer editing photos, but it's a whole different shift. It's not stressful for me. In fact, even today I was in a bit of a mood, and Caitlin's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. It's because I haven't shot a concert for a couple weeks. I need to get something to occupy everything that's going on. But it's been a crazy couple of years.
Man, you said so much there, and so many things to try to pick and have a full conversation out of any of those little things that you said there. Let me see. Something that it's not the most important thing that you said, but it's something very important to right now, how it's been going on in the world. And it's about, you just reinvented yourself. You know what I mean? And right now, for example, tattoo industry is being slow. Everybody knows that, right? I know a lot of people in the industry for many years, and it's been slow. But it's not just that right now too. It's not just the tattoo industry. It's many things. I got friends that own restaurants for years, and they've been closing them because nobody's there, But that was the full identity. They are restaurant owners. Some of them is a chef, for example. Still, he moved to somewhere else, and still is a chef there. But it's his whole project, his whole full intention for many years was preparing to that place, and it was open for many years where he was being him, right, the chef, and now it's gone. And now he need to reinvent himself. Now I'm gonna keep being a chef, but I gotta do probably different kind of food that is simpler to what he used to do. For example, or there is these other people that also restaurant owners, for example, that they are the owners, not the chef or anything. The owner, the mind behind that whatever they wanna sell. Years opening, now they have to close it. But the thing is that it's what I do now. Some people don't have even money saved, and they're old. So it's what do I do now? Go and start working outside in construction again or whatever, or do this or do that. Everybody's trying to find ways, right? And what I pick from what you are talking to me today is that it seems like there is an essential part of you that was always there, but it was kind of covered by a bunch of not just dirty laundry, because it's not dirty laundry, because it was your full life. You know what I mean?
Life.
It was your
Right.
career, your wife now is wife, your kids. So it's not like dirty laundry covering the thing. It's more like life covering you, right? It's like who you probably were when you were younger and what you wanted it to be probably got a little kind of disturbed by the life that you have to live. But there is this moment at 40 years old. Something happened. We went to 40, man. And I saw it happening, and it happened even stronger. Now I'm 48.
Yeah.
And by 46 or 45, it was stronger. And we kind of go back to connect to something inside of us that we realize who we are or who we always been, that for life happening, we have to kind of always move forward and adapt to the new places where we are. Like, for example, I left Venezuela behind, right? Yeah. New country. I was me. I still was me. I was trying to find my ways in this country, working construction, but I was me. And I was always trying to do things with art, and I was then suddenly a tattoo artist, and I've been a tattoo artist for a bunch of years. But then when you go 40, you start like, man, something happened to me. Like, I miss walking in Mérida, where I come from, my town and the city where I went to college, right? Mérida, I'll be here. I kind of miss walking in those streets. And it's not that it's better than here. It's just something more primal.
Well, so
you that is looking at connection to something primal of you.
It's interesting you put it that way, because so the common phrase, I don't know what it is in Spanish, but it's in English, it's a midlife crisis. And I don't like that word, right? And for a couple of reasons. Usually when I say like a midlife crisis, usually it's about a guy, not a woman. It's about a guy having a midlife crisis,
and they always related to a new bike, like a Harley Davidson,
a
new girlfriend,
or a new
20
car, or something that's a negative stigma. Which that's part of the problem. Which is where I'm getting at, is that through all of this, I've had therapy, and I'm a huge advocate for mental health, and guys especially, it's almost a stigma for guys to not have to show emotion or have emotion, and I just think that's
to don't be strong all the time.
That's a bunch of bullshit. You know, it's everyone deserves that same amount of focus on making sure they're all good upstairs, right? And so for me, I look back at kind of my scenario, even though my kids were older going through the divorce, and I don't think it's easy at all when you go through divorce with kids, but I think with younger, toddler type kids, it'd be a lot tougher. But going through divorce and everything like that, you have decision points in your life where you can either choose to become a victim of your situation and just blame what's going on around you, or you could say, this is my moment that I can seize, and it's like a blank canvas. I chose the latter, but I don't think I would have done it if I didn't have the mindset that I had worked on for so many years to that point, so that when that kind of like that decision point came, I was able to make the right point. And that, and the other thing is friends who have been divorced reaching out to you and asking you how you doing is huge. All it needs to be is like a how you doing, because they know how difficult it is, and they know how it's been, and everyone's situation's different, but that little reach out. But so that was just kind of like, now it's been crazy. I think I've shot 17 concerts since the beginning of the year.
Wow.
Which I think averages to like more than one show a week, which explains why I was cranky this week, because I didn't have a show. I didn't get a photo pass for one of the shows I wanted. It's been crazy. But you're right. It's like you have this point in your life where you reach that midlife crisis, and it's like you could either choose to lean into it and embrace it and turn it into a positive thing, or you can just kind of just like let life happen to you.
Yeah, for me, it's been fascinating. It's because I've always been introverted, right? That's how you say introverted?
Yeah.
Introverted?
Introverted?
Introverted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm always been like that. I live a lot more inside of my head than outside, right? But this time, it have helped me to actually pursue that. I don't know. I've been looking a lot more inside, actually, trying to understand. No, not from a point of view of therapy or anything like that. It's more just trying to learn more about insights, you know. And right now that you're saying like you kind of mad because you didn't have another chat this weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
You see, now I try. It's hard, man. But I've been trying to. Maybe it's a good reason you didn't have a chat this week.
Yeah.
Maybe you needed that space of time to see where you are, where you want to go, and because when you're super busy, and that's the thing that we never really appreciate, right? You know how tattooing is being for me, right?
Yeah.
Like always busy, and I love it. My passion, man. I can't get enough. And then suddenly I slow down, right? And now I have some free time for me, right? And in a moment I was like, oh my God, I need to tattoo. What I gotta do with my life when I'm tattoo? So much that it also helped me to understand how much of my identity is connected to being busy working. And I don't like it because it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
But I was able to see it from outside, having the space to think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Because if your identity is to always be busy, you're going to be your harshest critic when you're not, because you were so much in pressure to maintain who we are and that identity we have that you got to kind of like step back and be like, okay, but like that is okay. Like, and I think
but it's more than okay. That's the point. That once that kind of fear of the first moment passed, when it's like, oh, now I have time to do other stuff, right? I don't have appointment this Wednesday and Thursday, 2 days open, 2 days open. What is that? And I don't want it to sound like, oh, we were super busy like that. But you've been part of my career, right? It's like I used to have days open and I put like, it's open, and then somebody take it, and it was easy. So if I get days open and I want to keep them open, it was okay because I know they got more appointments. But what's a point that it was day opens that never got booked, let's say that way. So I start feeling like, what happened if I cannot tattoo anymore? Or if I cannot work, or I'm not working that much anymore. I start feeling like a loser, kind of like I need to find something else to do to keep busy. It was great that happened to me in that moment, because once you pass that freaking out the first second, that is just your fight and flight system kicking, because it's how you used to operate. Actually, I start finding, I got time to paint again. And I start painting, not because I always try to keep painting around me, but it used to be I have to do in the middle of the night because I was busy all day long, right?
And now you do it when you're like sitting in a parking. I think I saw it one time. You were just like at a parking lot waiting, and you started sketching out one of your photos because you're just
I do that, or I also just intentionally, I have a backpack set up in my car with an easel, portable easel and paint, and I go to places and just open it and paint, and it's been beautiful, and it's, of course, I'm not making the same money when I'm painting by myself in a park that when I'm tattooing for a full day, but I have to be very careful when I talk about this, because it's not like I don't love tattooing or I don't need money because I'm super rich. It's none of that. It's got nothing to do with. I'm not trying to talk right now about money or
it's
not
about
being
balance.
busy.
It's
about living.
Yeah.
And when in these spaces that you find when you actually have that time to don't be in let's go mode. You know what I mean? When you're living in that kind of pam, this is my life. This is what I do. I'm busy and I love it, and I'm doing it. And similar to what you said when you stand up in that concert and you were kind of crying, I wasn't crying, but it happened when I started painting again. I just felt a bliss. I felt something beautiful, that I was back again into something that kind of makes sense. That it made me feel like, why did I leave this aside? That thing that I was always looking for and I couldn't grab all this year, working, that you feel like something else you need to reach or something. it seems to be more connected to actually that moment when you're painting, that when you're counting money, let's say that way.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Again, I'm not trying to talk about money, right? I'm not mentioning all of this for the money. I'm talking about when we get so busy living life that there is something else that we put aside. And it's logic. It makes sense in that moment. You're living that life, right? But there is that part of you that somehow is put aside. And then you get to this by force. To me, happening by force, slowing down the tattooing. It kind of forced me. What I do with this time I have now, man. For a few days I was staying at home, right? I gotta rest. I deserve to fucking rest. No, I can't. I have to do something. I have to do something. I have to, and I couldn't, And then I start painting again, and it was like, oh, you were calling the whole time, And it's going back to that kind of more essential thing of you that actually feel fulfilling, and connecting all of this that I'm trying to say, right, to the other thing that you also say when you were talking, and it's like a new way to think. I'm trying to learn or experience or whatever, or let guide me. It's like we cannot really control everything, right? We cannot try to control everything because life really fucking happen and it throw you castle of cards down the hill, and what you only can do is see like, okay, what I do now, and either you cry and hide under the rock, or you just open yourself in your heart and see what is coming and what click, right? But it seems like if we get out of our own way, it kind of a path open if we are attentive enough
100%
to catch those feelings, and that take you to take photos.
Well, like you said, you're like, well, it's not about the money, and you kept coming back to that. But I was like, that's why it feels like it's about the money, right? And that it keeps circling back to it, because how do we feed our family?
Yeah.
How do we spend most of our waking hours doing stuff to maintain things that we enjoy in our sleep, right? Like you're not enjoying your house when you're sleeping, right? You spend a lot of waking hours being able to afford that and to afford groceries. And how long does it take you to eat a meal or to go through a fast food joint? But how long did you have to work to be able to pay to make that trip, or to have that nice dinner, or to go out? And so much of our focus is doing that. That's why at first I started feeling guilty that I was spending a lot of time outside of work, now going to concerts and doing this, until I stopped and really thought about it. And I was like, but it's making me a better dad,
a better everything, better human being.
It's healing things that needed to be healed. It's doing a lot for me. And so I needed to get out of my own viewpoint and my own like thinking of, this is a negative thing.
But, and I know you're saying it, I just want to kind of pull it out.
Yeah.
I don't know why, sorry. But I'm sure that every time you're doing all of that and healing that part of you, and now that you took the photo of your own kids and joining the band, I'm pretty sure you're never thinking about, because all of this money is going to make this photo so fucking special with my kids. It's not about the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, I know you're saying it. I just want to kind of pull it out, right? And I'm not saying that money is not important, because the whole thing is that we need the money and we work for money and we need to support our family and we need to create safety.
We're always in the mode of how do I make the next dollar to keep where I'm at now. And the point is that you can lose a little bit of that.
And it'd be better.
But be better overall, because you're some things money can't buy, right?
Exactly.
Money can't buy happiness,
so
right? It can buy a nice car. It can buy a lot of nice things. It can buy a nice camera even for me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the satisfaction comes from the doing, right? And I was actually, how we kind of start to develop like Instagram friends, because another artist follows another artist, and then you only talk through commenting on posts, and somebody had a long post doing the same thing, talking about how someone complained that person works out too much. But then that person had to stop and be like, I shouldn't feel bad about that. it's helping me so much more. And I said, like, the art of becoming is one of the most beautiful things. And it's that point of those inflection points in your life when you're like, okay, now's my time where, you know, I can do this. I can focus on this, whether it's painting or whether it's going to concerts or stuff like that. That change in you and keeping your eyes open and seeing that change in you and learning the lessons and thinking about everything is going to do so much more for you than working another hour tattooing or spending an hour marketing, trying to get somebody to come into my photography studio. Right.
And then kind of like relaxing a little bit, that space is this other situation that is relaxing to the stressful talk now. How we actually realize more and more that what we enjoy is doing the art. The process, being invested into the process of doing the art is what we love. But it seems like more and more and more and more we are required to spend a lot of time doing the videos, doing the posts, doing editing for this, editing for that. Like, it's not enough to do a tattoo anymore and post the photo. Now you have to do a full video that the client is coming, the lights are this, the background, you put the paper, you rip it, and make a noise, you set up, you do all this dripping and all this stuff and play for people to be so entertained by your video to give you another like, and now you got like 1,000 views instead of 5. So it's like, it seems like that.
Which people who aren't in this space, and so this has nothing to do with being a creative, because any small business owner has to do exactly what you just described. Because if they want to make money and stay open, they have to do what everyone else, to extent, have to do what everyone else is doing. Otherwise, people are going to spend their money where they feel trusted, and they're going to feel trusted in spaces where there seems to be a lot of like production and all this time and focus spent. It can take a couple hours to put together a well done 30-second reel. Between shooting it several times because he wanted to get it just right, to editing it, to timing it out with the music, to writing captions, all that stuff can take hours to go for 30 seconds for something that somebody may just quickly, half a second, flip their thumb up.
I know.
And that's another thing that I had burned myself out with the Boudoir Studio was
the production.
The production and to just do stuff. And I wanted to put myself out there more and put myself in stories and Instagram and talking and be that kind of person. I just didn't have that capacity. And so for a while I hit this patch where like I could still do good and bring in business with what I had. But as soon as situations changed, people started being more tight with their money. I would have to spend more time doing that other stuff, and I just didn't have it. So I had to make a choice. But it's a frustrating thing, whether you're creative or not. Being a business owner and trying to operate,
my friend sent me a message yesterday or something, and he said, "It's Manny, a friend, Manny tatuador. He's also a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And he said, man, I'm here like busy with a business situation, you know, like I miss when I just tattooed. And it's so true, you know what I mean? Like,
so the first time I came in to get tattooed by you is right before I moved to Norwalk. So I've been in Norwalk 10 years, right? When you were a tattoo artist, right before you opened, it's now Javier Eastman Studios. But when you opened up Causality 9-10 years ago, did you have to worry about creating all that stuff?
The thing is that I always worry because I'm a nervous person,
but back then we didn't have
Instagram
and TikTok to the point that it is now, where it's such a driving force for small businesses. And so that's the crazy thing too. You know, we're in the generation where we grew up where there wasn't even internet when we were kids to where it is now.
I know. I don't want to be in internet.
It's almost obsessive at this point as a small business owner. You are now being defined, your success is being defined by a couple of apps.
I know, right? Yeah, man.
And
It's such a trap because they create the apps are a good. For example, Instagram. It's a great tool, right? Because you get access to everybody to show you share whatever you do, right?
yeah.
But the machine is created for you to bend over to the machine. Meaning, it's not enough to show your work. Even a painter, beautiful paintings, quality, the best paintings ever. And then you see other paintings that are not that great, receiving thousands of likes. And it's not a judgment neither to the people that's watching, because art is in the, the beauty is in the eye of the observer, let's say. It's not a critique to the people that's watching, neither a critique for the artist saying that, oh, you're not good, you don't deserve attention. No, everybody deserves attention. That's the beauty of the art, Everybody deserves a big space just for doing it. And I believe in that. Even some people got to hate on that. I don't care. But the point is that it's more about the app. If a small group but big enough of people seems to like something, the app gotta give it a more
like a bump.
priority to that, whatever people is. For example, and I mentioned this example because I'm more familiar, because I don't really use Instagram or anything like that. But what I'm saying is this: you see how trending restaurants become when they have like all the walls covered in flowers and it's very beautiful swings everywhere and neon signs
selfies and stuff.
All the spots to take selfies and beautiful colors in the ditches. It's beautiful, right? You investing in your marketing in that way.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the food is not even important anymore. Like there is a couple of those restaurants, man. I gotta show you, but they invest thousands of dollars in decorations, and they change it by like when it's Mother's Day or whatever, Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or I don't know, those celebrations times, right? And they invest thousands of dollars. Everything goes in flowers and balloons. It looks so beautiful. And you see the social media that place, what they offer to people, for people to like go and visit, and you know how they're trying to catch people with photos of that. No photos of food anywhere. Doesn't even look like a restaurant, a principle. But you know what I'm saying? So the point is that it's okay. Everybody got that right to do whatever they want. The fucked up part is that it seems like Instagram now, because this is so beautiful and people like it, now they want to show that to everybody. Everything else seems like it won't be shown. So for the people that still buy your product directly for what they like seeing in you, they're even getting access to see your product. Because now, like, I got friends, right? Let's use my friends as an example without saying the names. But I got this friend of mine, for example, he has like 2 million followers as a tattoo artist. Very well known. Everybody knows about him. He used to put a photo of a tattoo he did, and in like seconds, he get like 2,000 likes. But in less than 24 hours, it's like 50,000 likes. Shit like that. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nowadays, he get like 1,000 likes in a good 24-hour good luck day. It's impossible. His work is better. It's not less. He got the same follower. He got the same. Yeah. It's just that nobody's getting to see his work. I don't see his work.
It's saturated. It's too much now. So like when Instagram started.
But it's not just that it's too much. It seems like if he doesn't do the full video posting where he's ripping the stencil and the ink caps and the whole thing, and we have made it in conversation behind the scene. We have made examples. Okay, let's make one of those videos. See what happened. Yeah, you see it. A little blow, and then again down. It's that kind of video is getting the attention. So people since like people see the video, it's like, oh, I like this video. It looks beautiful. The production, they like it. They share it. They're more, So it's not the quality of the work; it's the quality of the video presenting the work.
I get what you're saying,
and it's okay.
It's like, what are you liking? Are you liking? Are you liking the tattooing, or are you liking? Yeah, are you liking being entertained?
It's kind of like, right, but it's not even fault of the viewer, because again, a group of people like those videos, not like everybody like it at first. It's just they became popular. Now Instagram seems to give more relevance to those kind of videos than to the other one. The other one disappeared. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And still, all of this is just me talking to you. I'm not even sure if what I'm saying is true or not. It's just a perception stuff. But what I notice is that painters, right? They cannot just put a photo of the painting they just did. They have to put a full video, how they were preparing, and the full conversation next to the, whatever. So they have to do so much. And it's okay, right? What I'm trying to say.
But it has nothing to do with the painting. And that's the point, right?
Maybe they are valued somehow. But
it's their energy and their time. And
is that what it worries
now
me?
Focused on this. And it's like, but you're missing the whole point of what the original creation was supposed to be, to get people to bring them there. And the first part was see my painting, invest in my art, versus now it's
but again, not on fault of the viewer, because we all get adapted to the new way how Instagram is presenting stuff. Reel wasn't there, now everybody watch reels. Nobody go and watch a post, just a post. Everybody wants to see reels and post reels. But it seems like then Instagram starts saying somehow, if you post a reel, I give you at least 25% more possibility to somebody to see your shit. If you post just a boring post. And if you put a post with too many letters, I won't show that. At least that you put a pink, beautiful, ornamented post, and then I show it to a little more people. So yes, it might be that people seeing it and the algorithm kind of giving it more relevance to what people is seeing. That's why I don't want to blame the people or neither the artists that now have to fucking do what the algorithm is saying because we want to show. It's just more about the tool that is fucking everybody, because it puts you in a position that I want to do painting. I want to paint, right? For example, that's what it's a driven. It's a call. I want to do it. It feels good. In all my traumas, all my fucking frustration, when I'm doing it, it feels great. I want to do it. But when it's done, first that when I'm doing it, I have to be, wait, that camera, I have to get that camera and put my fucking, now I'm even flowing in the painting. I'm thinking about the stupid camera that I forgot to plug. And now, the light, this light doesn't work. I have to put the other light, right. Now I'm forced to think about other stuff, not through that process. And it's a force. You have to do it. So that's what I'm trying to say. Because somebody might say, but just don't do it. Just don't do the fucking video. You do paint and post your Yeah, but nobody gonna see it. And I still need to get the money. You know what I'm saying? My goal is to be so free that I can just paint. And that is food in my refrigerator at home, and bills are paid, and everything is paid. I don't need to be counting money. I just want to make sure everything is paid, and I paint. That's all I want.
That's why one of my good friends, he's a divorced dad as well. He has 4 kids as well. And we actually used to work together. And one of the first things he asked me is like, so are you making money off doing the concert photography? I was like, no, but I get free concert tickets.
Right.
I was like, so I guess I'm saving money because I would have gone to see those artists anyways. But I think that's why it was so freeing for me, is because I was no longer caring about making money. And I say that I don't care how many people view my posts, but when the lead singer of Killswitch Engage took my pictures and put it on his, accepted the collaboration on Instagram, and all of a sudden my followers went up, and I'm getting likes on posts that I've never seen before. Like, I'm not going to complain about that, but
definitely.
But it's great to be in a spot now where it's about the art. And it's funny because you know how it is, like when you're creating, you get known for doing, like, you're known for that black and gray realism, or that's even surrealism sometimes, with the way you integrate animals and statues, and then it like flows into this and that. And then I think, most of my larger American traditional pieces are from you. And I still remember, some of the tattoos on me are from Javier. And I remember a conversation we said, I don't want to post that because I don't want to be known for that. Yeah. And you wanted to be in your space. And I think it's so funny the way I think about stuff now, because one of the reasons people like my photos, even for concert photography, is it's real. And it was like you were there at the stage, but it just almost looks like a movie. But it's not a movie. It's just a way that I just do my thing from a photography editing perspective. It's very unique, and it's recognizable as my work, but it's unique. And then the other day I was posting another band's photos, and I was like, everything I post is in color.
isn't or is?
It is in color. And I was like, I'm just going to do a full post of the band, and it's all going to be
black and grays.
Black and grays.
Black and
which
black and white photography.
which I have anyways. I give bands both versions of it.
You say black and white photography, right?
Yeah, black and white photography.
In tattooing, I say black and gray. That's what I say, black and gray. It's weird.
So I decided, why not? Why not just since I'm not trying to get people in, and instead I want people who follow me to appreciate what I'm doing. I was like, I'm just posting the whole thing in black and white, and I don't care how many likes it gets. I don't care if it results in me getting
you were being an artist.
It was great to finally be in a spot where I could be like, I'm doing it this way because I think that this is one of the better sets of black and white photos that I've had, and I just want to show the world what it is. And it's great to be in that spot because previously it was chasing what do I need to do to maintain
the status,
so that I can keep making money off photography, versus now where I'm just enjoying it for what it is. It's been freeing.
But and I'm sure, knocking on wood, right? But it seems like it proved right many times, and I'm sure it might prove right this time also. And it's that because you doing it in the most real way possible, that is, you're not concerned about the money in that moment. You actually letting your work be an expression of your way to see the things. Yes. Not trying to please somebody exactly as they want it to be. Because in a strict, I have to deliver what they're expecting from me because they pay me a lot of money for this. So it's more like, okay, I got the opportunity and I fucking love this shit. I gotta try to experiment and do like that black and gray thing. You were not concerned about money, likes, or not even likes, because money is the other level. Likes is the minimal basic level that it was almost like a way of live under.
It was almost like a way of challenging my own thinking because I'm always posting in it. So I paused to myself and I was like, I'm gonna do it this way because I'm almost like every once in a while I'll put a black and white one in there, but I never posted a whole post where it's all black and white. And I was like, why not? Like, this is kind of cool, and these are really cool in black and white and color. So I just did the whole thing. It's going back to appreciating the creating.
Exactly, but that's the whole beauty of doing art, right? Of probably doing many other stuff. Just I don't have the experience in the other stuff. But the whole beauty of doing art is that when we try to really get ourselves out of the way and just do the thing that we have to do. And really be sincere to ourselves, like just enjoy the moment, be present, do what you have to do, like that kind of view of the artist that you like and the most real moment in the angle. So you find stuff, you see it. It's something, you in that moment, I take some photos. I don't know photography. I do sometimes photography as a hobby, right?
You leave that to your brother.
My brother is really passionate about it. So I almost feel bad of trying to take photos and then tell him I took a photo. But we love it, right? As an art form. Yeah. He's aligned to it. For me, it's a very hobby. My camera is a Nikon D90. So it's like 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
It still is a electronic camera, but it's very old. But I don't invest more because for me, it's a very now and then hobby, right? But something that I noticed is that when you start taking photos and you're walking in a whatever, you're doing a hike or whatever, and you put your camera aside, you're walking, you start seeing photos. You're like, oh, look at that branch. It kind of look cool in a photo, and you take photos, and then you see that you see different than when you just living in a normal day. When you got that camera, you start seeing, wow, the red of that bridge look cool with that background. Look at that.
Yeah.
Let me try to get a little of that reflection. Oh, wow. And then you see that camera, and you kind of, you know what I mean? It's like the way to see the world change when you go in that mode. But this is what I'm trying to explore right now with what you're saying, is that the fact that you're not really focused on I need to deliver this product that somebody's buying from me. Like if you cook, for example, and you sell cakes, your cake cannot be salty never. It always have to be a good cake.
Yeah, it always has
and
to
it always
be
has to look good, right?
Yeah.
But if you decide to do different kind of desserts to give away to your friends, it doesn't fucking matter what you do. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But you got to do what you feel is good to you.
Yeah.
And then maybe somebody gonna like it. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you're doing the most real thing that is taking it cannot be more artist than that. That's basically what being an artist means in the most romantic way. And you're not pursuing the money. You're not pursuing the money. You're going to a place that you want to be because you love being there. And all this process is healing you, is giving you love, it gives you joy, letting you share with your kids. So it cannot be more art than that, right? My point is that, maybe right now it's not producing the amount of money it was producing the boudoir. Clearly it's producing more pressure than boudoir because otherwise you wouldn't be changing money for hobby. But in some point, it got to explode. If you keep going, it's pretty much inevitable. How you say inevitable? Inevitable. Those words in English that fuck.
There's going to be a test later.
You know what I mean? Inevitable. No, inevitable.
Inevitable. Now you got me saying it wrong.
Yeah. Inevitable.
You would say in Spanish. Inevitable. See, that's
inevitable. That, believe it or not, the hardest word in English for me to remember the right pronunciation are the words that in Spanish and English you write in the same or they sound almost the same. For some reason, my brain keep going to
sound in Spanish. When you write it in Spanish, it sounds the way you write it.
There are many words like idea. You spell it the same, right? For a long time, it was hard for me to say idea because my mind keeps saying idea when it's kind of reading and talking, right? Things like that. Anyway, pronunciation, believe it or not, was hard because you spelled in the same pronunciation, pronunciación. Just you change the T for the C, right?
Yeah.
But you change one letter, but you change the whole pronunciation of that word, right? No pronunciación, pronunciation. Now it's changing the word. Anyway, those have always been the harder for me to fluently say now. But the point is that it have proved this before many times, and it seems that it have to happen again. Like it's impossible for it to happen when you do something so real with so much passion and you keep doing it. In some moment it gotta pay off. It's already paying off, right?
Yeah.
In the right place as an artist, inside of you. It's already paying off. But we want money. We need it, right? So ideally, we want to get to a point where we do what produce that kind of benefit to our soul, and we receive money for that too.
So you hear that, James Hetfield? After you buy Javier's portrait that he painted of you, you're going to bring me on tour and let me be a Metallica tour photographer.
Yeah. You can tell to Rars, I promise I'll bring what he gave you, one of the sticks, right?
Yeah, one of the drumsticks.
Yeah, I'll bring the drumstick.
Give me another one. I only got one. I need two to play.
So. It's been sounding very weird for 25 years. Like, tack. We need something else to balance it. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Those are crazy times, man. Kobe was similar. Kobe is one of those moments that are hard to talk because a lot of people suffer very bad in those days. But it's hard to say what's good for me, kind of, right? But it was. And it was because it forced me to stop working. Before Kobe, for me, it was impossible to stop working. Like, I always have to be doing something. I used to feel like I can't stop because, I don't know, I lose it all or what I gotta do if I'm not. I don't even know what I was thinking back then. I know for a fact that my normal being, it acts a lot under a fear umbrella. Like everything serious through fear. I'm scared of losing. I'm scared of not having. I'm scared of what if. I don't know. It's how I was probably raised. No with bad intentions, but probably my mother trying to protect me a lot because she became a single mother when I was a newborn. So maybe, I don't know. I don't really know. And doesn't really matter too much. The point is I recognize it on me more now. I see it happening. And COVID time, because we were forced to close the tattoo shop for 14 weeks, I started enjoying it.
Which had to feel like years. Those 14 weeks.
Bro, imagine. It's like 2-3 days for me with no work. It was weird. Going on vacation, it was exhausting. It was, for my brain, I have to be constantly thinking it's okay to don't work, relax. You on vacation, you earn this shit. It was hard. It was exhausting to my mind trying to disconnect on vacation, man. I lay down by a pool with a margarita thinking, fuck, I should be working. And it was never like I don't even know that it was.
But I mean, it's so funny
scenes.
because you look back and you're like, well, 14 months. Well, that's like 3 months. Like, and at the end of the day, it's like, what now that 3 months is now what, like 5 years behind us now. But man, in the moment, it feels like an eternity.
And
you never know what the next day is going to bring, what thing you can or can't do.
But that was the beauty to me, because that uncertainty allowed me to realize that I don't need to know everything all the time to be cool, to be okay. Like, if something happened, okay, always talking wood, right? Knocking wood is nothing about being arrogant or anything like that. It's about shit happen and we need to readapt. And being before that moment comes or in the middle of that storm, it seems impossible. Like, what the fuck I gotta do now? There is no solution, right? Everything that was secure and safe for me doesn't exist. What do I do now? It seems scary. But when you wait a little more, it's kind of, after that, you always, like, I mean, we're here, right?
Yeah.
We're here. I'm not making the same money, you might say, right? I was making more money being with, but you're here and you probably in a much better place in your life that you ever been.
And
or at least
on
for
top
many
of that,
years.
in a better place that should another COVID happen, or even, God forbid, knock on wood, I was to lose my job, the one that actually pays all the bills, right? 3-4 years ago, if that was to happen, I'd be freaking out. Now, if it happens, I've proven to myself, I started my own side business. I opened up a photography studio. That changed. That's fine. I reinvented myself again. If something was to happen, I can do it again. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean I'm going to freak out when I have to go figure out how to pay my mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. I'll be able to figure it out and probably do it in a much better headspace than I could have maybe even 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's still scary, right?
Yeah.
It's still hard to learn the lesson. The lesson's been there. It have happened so many times. Oh, this year I have to change school. Like when you're 5th grade, going to 6th grade.
Yeah.
So scary. My friends are gone. These new people, what is going to happen? And then you're in school and nothing happened. You're there. And then you got friends. Of course, some kids go through share, whatever it is, but talking about the norm, right? With the average. Yeah. And then you have to change city. And you're like, what if I don't find a job? What if I lose my job? And then what if? And no, you get there and then life comes and you leave it, right? And it's like that. We don't know. Someday something bad really might happen. Something bad might really happen, right? Or we lose our job, or we really cannot provide. It might happen. If it happens, we find a way when that happens. But living right now, trapped in the mind that if something bad happens, being scared all the time from now to then, it doesn't make much sense, right?
Yeah.
But even though right now I don't know what is going to be the future, you know what is crazy? It's like most people that know me nowadays, that is not from my past, of course, from most of the people that knows me as a tattoo artist. And I became a tattoo artist as a happy accident because I was in a point of my life there was no way where to go, and somebody offered me a job and I took it, and then I became a tattoo artist. You know what I mean? So I could have never imagined all of the life that I have lived being a tattoo artist, in my reincarnation as a tattoo artist. That's something I was talking to my friend. It seems like I live different life in different time. It doesn't make sense that the tattoo artist Javier is the same construction Javier, right? When I was construction, it was completely different life. It was the same. That kind of thing that persists inside of you seems to be the same. And I don't know if we talked about this earlier or I talking to the other guy or when, I don't know. But the point is that it seems like I'm in a different parallel universe almost, that all the life that I have and all the things that I have lived being a tattoo artist compared to my other life before, in all the stages before. There were so many different ones. And yet I never planned for that. I learned to tattoo because my brother insisted to me, Harold.
Yeah.
You should tattoo. You should tattoo. I want a tattoo. Do a tattoo. Because I knew how to draw and paint, and I got that kind of intentions in art.
Yeah.
He wanted me to tattoo. So I started tattooing one day, and then somebody else came. Then I moved to America, and I kind of tattoo a few people in my house here and there, making some extra cash to paint because I wanted to paint, to buy materials. And then I worked construction, and 7 years later of living that way, I was super broke and no money as a painter artist, no money as a construction because I kind of lacked working all the time. I was very exhausted, kind of living that life of having to work construction every day, and no money. And then I was super broke. And somebody said, "This guy's looking for a tattoo artist. Where you don't go?" And then I started tattooing. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the point is that I never planned it, and look where it took me, right? And I know I cannot imagine. I can imagine things that I would like for me or my kids in the future. But I'm not sure how good my imagination is to try to picture something that will make us all feel happy rather than having stuff. I might picture, I want to have a future with a bigger house, right?
Yeah.
And my kids have a pool and everybody has a cool car, for example, right? And not just for anybody. I'm just saying me thinking about this, right? And I'm sure if I put all my intention, I could do it. But most of the way how I think right now, my limited capabilities to think about it, I know it would require a lot of work and a lot of hours and a lot of thinking and a lot of dedication to that project, whatever it is, that will make me all the money to have more stuff. And I will have it if I want to, right? I'm pretty sure, right? I feel confident. But I feel like I will compromise so much on the quality of time that Andres and I have right now. For example, every day I wake up with Andres and getting ready to go to school. We talk every morning, Boche. I walk into school every day. You know what I mean? And it's not like, the super father. For me, that's beautiful. It's important. For me, that makes sense. Every time that I've been at a tattoo convention or in another city and I don't do those stuff, I feel lonely. I feel like I miss it. I miss something nice, you know? So my point is that we have to keep reinventing ourselves, and I don't feel confident I have the imagination to really get to the idea of the plan of what it will be nice for us as a family, with my wife and my daughter and my son, for example, that work for all of us as a unit, as a family, and at the same time produce a life that I will enjoy and everybody will enjoy and produce all that money. I cannot imagine it right now, except do arts.
Yeah.
Do arts. You paint. Hopefully you're gonna bring money someday. Hopefully, I don't know what is gonna happen.
So I got a good story for you. So it's kind of along the same lines about being a father and stuff like this. Because I think what it all comes down to is its ability to self-reflect. So whether you go to therapy or not, the point about therapy is to get you to pause. And for someone who has severe anxiety like me, it's to get you to pause and to think, not the way your brain's making you think. Right. So
separate that space between
how you think things are going to happen
and the reaction to that thought
versus what time again has proven is actually the case. But if you can find ways to self-reflect, whether it's through art or through any other means, to get you to pause what you normally do so that you get out into your headspace, even if it's going and smoking a joint on your back porch, and that's your moment that you can center yourself and you can think about the world around you, that's healthy. So going through this divorce, right? So the kids live with me full time, and I was really concentrated on being the best father that I could for him, because growing up where my parents are still together, and generally from my upbringing, divorce was always out of the question. I'm in a whole new territory where I have no instruction manual on what to do, but I want to be good, do the best job I can. And so I remember being really stressed out about the fact that what my time with them looked like, to make sure that I was cooking things they liked and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time I felt like I wasn't cooking enough, that I was offering too much microwave food. Right. And for context, my kids are teenagers or older, so it's literally what they're okay eating, but I felt guilty about it. Mm-hmm. Like, forget what my kids feel. I felt guilty.
They were happy. You're like, fuck, I choose
So I was like, so one time I was like, hey guys, tonight, you know, when we sit down for dinner, I want you guys to think about, like, I want to cook for you guys more. I want to do more for you guys. Let me know what you want to eat, what meals you like, what meals you don't like, and I'll shop around that, and I'll cook this if you want this, and if you don't, I won't cook that anymore. It's kind of like, help me help you guys. Mm-hmm. So we're eating dinner and talking about it, and I was expecting them to come to the table and have ideas of what they liked or didn't like. And it was all in my head, because what came out of that was, Dad, there's been nothing wrong with what's been happening. Mm-hmm. Like, I love eating taquitos from Costco. Like, keep buying those. Right. So it was weird, because I was so worried about how good of a job I was doing, and in my own head, wrapped up in my own world and my own processing everything around me. And then I paused for a second, got willing to get somebody else's viewpoint on something, and they are just like, why are you so concerned with this? You know, like, and so now it's like, cool. Now I know exactly when I go to Costco, I don't feel guilty anymore going to Costco when I'm picking up microwave food, because that's what they want. And what does the world tell you to be? It tells you that you're defined because you cook, you can provide, you can do all this stuff for it. And it was like, no, this is just my perception. Like, how about we ask the people who it truly matters to? Yeah. The people that we say we're concerned with, and that we're so wrapped up on trying to be the best father possible.
But the thing is that this is the complication, man. And
so maybe the kids,
they don't know.
You think the kids want the pool, and they may say they want the pool. Yeah. But at the end of the day, what are they appreciating more? The times that you guys have the giggles and you just can't stop laughing. Mm-hmm. The times that, like, they were having a bad day and you actually went to McDonald's and got them the Happy Meal. Mm-hmm. Right? And there's things in there that they either don't have the tools or words to express to you in the moment, or they may not even have realized themselves. But when you can pause and reflect, you're going to find out that, wow, maybe that thing that I felt horrible as a father because I haven't cooked in a whole week, they don't care at all. They're enjoying the time that's being saved because you're not in front of the stove and you're not doing this.
Yeah. With that, food is complicated because you have to give them good food. You cannot give them shit because they're kids and want shit.
For me, it's really easy answer. It's like, guys, should we do some microwave food, or do we get to go down to La Calle? And that's never an issue going to La Calle. That's, you say that word in my house and it's like they're already in the car before I can finish saying the name of the restaurant.
But with my kids, they're like, so what you want to eat today? They're going to go for the junk food right away. Yeah. Chick-fil-A, taco, enough. Fuck that. We have to cook Sunday. Yeah. So it's good to feel guilty a little bit about it. Just in the level of being aware. I kind of should give them more nutritional food than chef food. But it makes sense in the other level that at least you're still there. You're showing for them. You getting, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're feeling it. So they're like, everything is okay.
And I think what I'm getting at is that how much energy I spent worrying about, was I providing and being good enough in that moment? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
it for them, they have other shit going on in their lives that is so much more important to them than what they're having for dinner. And through a divorce, especially for them, how they're processing and how they're going through that is so much more important than...
How old is your youngest?
The youngest is 13.
Oh, wow.
7th grade. And so, I got a seventh grader, a junior in high school, and 2 kids in college. And one of the kids goes to school in Rhode Island, and the other one lives at home and goes to school in Stanford. And it's my point that I'm getting with all this is take time, whether you're an artist or business owner, you have to do something to put your life on pause a couple hours a week to just get out of your head, because it's not till you stop pushing and you stop trying to make the ends meet and stuff like that. You're thinking you're doing the right thing. You think you're in this, you're just feeding back to the machine. Mm-hmm. and you may be overlooking what really matters.
Yeah. So, but that was kind of the point I was trying to make with the pandemic, and after the pandemic, with this new stage of how things is being, is that I have gotten the opportunity. I don't know if that's proper English. Sorry, I got in the opportunity of living with a lot more space.
Yes.
So I'm not living a rushed life anymore. I'm not living in the back to back every minute. I have to do this because I have this amount of time. I'm not living that life anymore. I have time to think. I use many hours of my time a week, let's say, because I don't want to say a day because I want to sound like I'm a loser. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
But in reality, a day, I spend many hours thinking, about what I consider is important. Let's call it. And it's divided in like 3 or 4 different groups of things that I have to think all the time. But all of this time is only in the benefit of my mind and my family. Let's call it that way.
Yeah.
It's spent in thinking about humanity in me and in my family. You know what I mean? About human condition, about reality, about consciousness, about things that it matters to me a lot. Thanks to all of this space I have gotten because I was forced into it, right? Having to slow down. All of this has become a very, very wonderful thing for me. Just that it's not the same money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it doesn't, the money is there. I pay my bills, everything is on time, right? Probably no excess money to whatever, right? But I have earned in change for that extra money or that extra time I spend it working all the time. I have earned a lot of space for my mind, for kind of cultivate what it seems to be most important to me. That is my home time, my family time, my mind time, my personal space time. So it's that time that I spend just sitting and thinking for hours about those that I'm studying, let's say that way, or writing and thinking, or just listening to information I wanted to listen to, and painting and doing things around arts. So that's what I was trying to say. Actually, it's been a blessing at disguise that I don't know where it's gonna take me. I'm kind of excited and nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's super exciting. It's exciting that just what it will be that gonna happen next. You know what I mean? And I'm not leaving tattooing. I'm not saying I'm quitting my life and changing to a new life. It's just that I see the patterns that have been happening my whole life. When every certain amount of years or periods or whatever you want to call them, it's like a new age, a new beginning, kind of, that still carries everything that is in me, right? Because when I became a tattoo artist, I didn't stop being an artist. I actually integrate my feelings as an artist, as a painter and reader and writer, whatever. I integrated it into tattooing. So I want my tattoo to breathe through how I feel art, not just do a tattoo as whatever, right? So, and to my artist time and to my tattoo artist time, I integrated also my graphic design time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I learned as a graphic designer, and like that, it's been integrating. It's not like just change my whole life.
Yeah,
just integrate everything into this new era or whatever, right? This new state. So I'm excited to see what is happening. But what I noticed up to right now in this past year, that I lost friends again, because, you know, also my friends are cyclical, kind of. Most, not my friend, but a lot of people that come around me, they are part of that time in my life. It depends what I'm doing. These people come, and when I'm not doing that, it seems like I don't work for that people anymore, something like that. So what I'm saying is that I'm kind of excited to see what is gonna come out of this craziness, because what I have found up to right now is that having that space where I'm not working all the time, yet not making the same money, but not working all the time, I found like a different kind of peace, a different kind of curiosity, a different kind of time to learn, to explore, to be curious again. But all of this is coming to a time in my life at 48 where I'm also seeing different stuff or life in a different way as I used to see it.
Think
So, I don't know,
about
it's
think
been
about
cool, man.
think about like a forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get these forests that have been around for a really long time, or even like forest fires that we get here in America, or the rainforests in South America. Super dense, right? Things only get to grow so big because there's not space for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What happens when that little tree that was overshadowed by all these tall trees that have been there from prior periods, that tree's only going to grow so far, right? Soon as you get rid of that and you make space for it, there's more space for that tree to grow.
Yeah.
So you're only going to kind of like grow into the container that you have in front of you. And when you make space for that, that's why those exciting things happen, because you're allowing for growth, you're allowing for change, and otherwise you're just kind of like compact into this point. And that's kind of like where I've been, even when I'm not doing work and I'm not taking concert photography, or I'm not spending time with the kids, still I've created a space even within my own bedroom, right? That I have like this area that just kind of celebrates all those chapters, right? All the way from, and what it is I'm huge into vinyls and
cool,
still
man.
centered around music, but I have this like little area where I have all my vinyls. But
I have one. I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you one vinyl as a gift.
oh, that's
I love it. It's beautiful, and
it's
I have it here. Remind me before we leave.
Yeah. It's so I have this area. I have that. On it is, I got this kind of like this thumb over here, right? It's the rock symbol, and it has a hole in it, and through that is the drumstick from Lars. So it has like kind of that chapter in it. On that as well is like when you get a photo pass at a concert, you get a special sticker so they know you're approved to take photos. And depending on the venue or the artist, those all might look different.
Oh, cool.
So I got a tray of those that I've had from prior concerts. I have the vinyls all the way from Metallica and AC/DC and stuff like that, to some of the bands that hadn't even heard of until I got into concert photography, where I go to their show and I buy a vinyl. I have all that just in this one corner of my room, and all I have in that corner of my room, besides the vinyls and all that music related stuff and all these different chapters of my life as it ties into music, is just a chair.
Sweet.
To sit.
Yeah.
And to, maybe vape or have an edible and just think.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the coolest thing because I haven't had that point in my life to do that. And I have that now. Right. Yeah. So it's kind of I'm always a big thing of, you get choices. And this is I've always told my kids, if I can leave you with anything, is that nothing's guaranteed in this life. You guys have seen that firsthand now, going through the divorce, but nothing's guaranteed in this life. So you can either choose to be like a victim of the circumstance, or you can use it as an opportunity to become the best version of yourself. And if I want to leave them with anything, right, that they get from me, and whenever they reflect on who Dad was, is that Dad could do whatever he was passionate in. And that's all I want them to do. And it's cool to see kids get older now, because Andres is, he's still a little guy. He's big, but he's a little guy.
Yeah.
It's cool now.
But you already see that transformation of the mind from not being a little kid anymore to.
Now, as my kids are getting older, and I take Ethan, who is the other kid in college. COVID, he's already
like 19, right?
19, yeah. He was always an introvert. And COVID made a lot of kids even more introverted.
I know.
They just needed their phones. They couldn't go out and be with friends. We never went through this as kids. They lost 2 or 3 years out of the formative years out of their childhood. And I was always worried about him because socially, how is he going to interact? How are things going to go? And it's cool that he ended up, rather than doing the go to school and get a 4-year degree, he's at a trade school in Rhode Island. and he's doing manual work, and that's kind of gonna be the space he's gonna go into. And since he's been there, that kid is out every single night with friends.
Cool, man.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, again, you're in the mindset that you worry about things having to go a certain way or fit into a certain mold. And sometimes you just gotta give kids space to let them be themselves rather than who we want them to be with good intentions, right? But he's doing his own thing. He gets his grades, he goes to class, he gets his grades done, and this is the most ironic thing, but I grew up in Alaska. I spent most of my youth, especially in the summers, fishing. But I was always as an adult with my own kids, providing, doing other things. I never taught my kids how to fish. Never spent that time. He's up there, and just randomly last week he starts sending pictures of him catching fish. Like he went and he bought his own rod, and he gets up in the morning before class, which is another impressive thing that I never think I'd see this kid get up so early to go do. And he does it now. But he's doing it because he's given that space and that freedom to do it. Yeah,
man. All right, man. I think we can stop right now, right here. It's supposed to be like 1 hour. We're hour and a half talking, but it's beautiful. Sorry I interrupt. I wish I can keep just talking, but we figured out.
That's because we'll come back.
I know. We got to come back. We have to keep talking, man, all the time. It's also been, for me, good having the podcast, even though long time I don't record, is that there are many friends I never see, and then we sit and talk for a long hour. And even though we kind of talking something formal at the same time, like it's not like when you're talking, right? Outside, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of the same, but different at the same time. But even though it's a little more formal way to talk, almost the same, but a little more formal, still you get to talk to your friends.
And you're learning.
Get to know about them.
And you're learning from them.
Yeah, and so it's weird. Look, when I first decided to do the podcast, first, talking to my brother, I was like, I gotta do about tattoos, right? Talking to my clients and about the tattoo, what you get tattoo, what you like, blah, blah, whatever. But very soon I realized, even though I like that idea and I still probably want to use it someday to do something with that, there is more in people. When every time I start tattooing somebody, I talk and ask. There is more that I want to know from people. That is not just about why they're getting a tattoo, what that tattoo, right? Yeah. But in all that process, it was happening in my own personal life outside of tattooing and everything. It was happening that I realized that I didn't know how to live a life. There are so many things that I don't have idea how they work. Like basic stuff, man. Even how to be the proper father. I didn't have a father. I don't have a role model. Nobody around me has a father that I see acting as a father, right? And then I'm a father now. Should I do this or do that? Should I be more loving or more rough because I need to show that man's side? Should I... My wife, for example, say, Javier, I said to Andres to do whatever, right? He's not saying, you have to tell him to listen to me. So I was thinking about it, right? And I said to her, if I tell you to do it, to listen to you, he's not still listening to you. He's still listening to me. And I want him to learn to listen to you, to respect your authority as a mother, right? Without having to fight or anything. And I was wrong. In some basic way, there is a different role for the father and for the mother. There is, right? That's certain, right? Different roles, right? Very, 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 very. The feminine and the masculine are very different. Even the masculine in the woman and in the feminine in the man, the combination of those things are expressed differently, and the kids should be able to receive both sides from each parent and not just the mother fighting all the time, the father being a good friend, because it's kind of not fair. It's too much of the masculine in the mother in that situation. So anyway, thinking about all of those stuff, I realized that, yes, me saying, listen to your mother is not actually taking authority from, and it might be people that is professional and say like, I'm fucking wrong. And I do care, and I gotta listen and keep learning anyway, even if nobody said it to me. But what it feels right now is that me saying, you have to listen to your mother, it's not taking authority from her. It's actually adding, like, she's fucking right. You know, it's like adding my tone to listen to her, and that will help him to get that connection to her voice is also authority, not just mine.
Or even take a step back, pull it back even more. Why does she need to listen? Why does Andres need to listen to her? Because when you get past the forcing the action to what you're trying to do, so it's like Andres, you need to listen to your mother, and you want this and you want that, but it's like, but why is he not listening to her? And what's going on in his head, right? Mm-hmm. We're so focused on approaching it as a parent. We got to be kind of like, what's there? Is it that he, and this is the big thing, especially now that, he's just, believe it or not, going to be 2 or 3 years away from going into middle school, right?
Probably 2, because he's in 5th already.
Which is the worst time for kids even when I was a kid, but middle school is a really tough time. Is like they go through so much shit that we have no idea or see. So then that's kind of where I'm at as parenting now, is like, okay, clearly doing it this way hasn't worked. But what I've started to realize too, and kind of going back to the space thing, is sometimes we're so focused on being a parent and what we think is a model parent, we're not providing space for our kids to tell us how they're doing or what's going on with them. Mm-hmm. So I know this is kind of pivots on the scenario that you mentioned with Andres, but it's like when we're getting frustrated as parents and that our kids aren't doing something or not listening to us, are we providing space for us to listen to them?
Yeah. No, that's a good point, man. Very, 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 very true. We really try in our house to teach them to express your mind.
Yeah.
Whatever. If you're angry, even if I fuck it up, tell me. Yeah. We really have that, right? And Andres and I have that very strong since very little.
Yeah.
He don't need, like, my authority over Andres try to always come is as a, let me explain to you what I think you should do, and still you can decide to go against that if you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're going to challenge what I'm telling you, give me a reason, right? Don't just say I don't want to do it because that's not a reason. I might be wrong in your thoughts. At least explain to me how you think I'm wrong and why you want to do it your way, right? And he have gotten away with a lot of shit from me just because he expressed his ideas so fluently that even though he was grown as a father.
You're sitting there and you're like, well, damn, he has a point.
But you know what I'm saying? But even though his point for me as a father is grown, that what he's saying is not right if I want to see as a father. But he expresses so eloquently and it seems like he's so right in his mind what he's doing. That let him get away with that. Of course, it's nothing like.
He's not getting away with murder
nothing that.
here.
No, I know even. And
it's like, can I have another snack? Or can I?
It's not, for example, like, can I do peanut butter a sandwich? And it's, bro, peanut butter, that's not really food. You say, yeah, but at least the peanut butter has some good proteins in it, and it's sugar free. So I know I'm getting the bread, but getting some good fat with my fucking protein.
Yeah.
He's 9. I'm like, I'm not gonna say no to that shit. Yeah, get your fucking sandwich, of course. At the end of the day, I think we know what I kill. But you know what I'm saying? He giving me a valid reason. Yeah. So I know that at 8 p.m. or whatever, still the fucking peanut butter gonna keep it away 2 hours, and eating bread this late might not be the healthiest thing ever when you're trying to change habits that you your whole life. But bro, you did it good. You did it eloquent. You got away with the fucking sandwich. Eat it. At least it's true, right? In that kind of, so things like that, right? Like, I don't know. I don't really want to put my pillow in there. I prefer to have it here. I say, yeah, but it's not supposed to be here because whatever, right? He said, but if I put it there, I got this room to do that. And then at the end of the day, I can grab it, put it here, and put it back there. So it's like, okay, fucking makes sense, right? So it's the pillow should be here, but it makes sense what he's saying, and he's not bothering nobody. He's working for his approach to the situation. So yeah, fuck it, do it whatever you want. It's never gonna be for me like I'm the father, bro. You have to listen to me.
Yeah.
Because something that I also realized very clear is that, as I told you, things that I knew and I was certain I knew for sure, and now I know I was wrong. even in behavior things. For example, I used to work with a lot of people that was always in the top of them, like, you have to practice more. You have to practice more. You're slow, post share around, do drawing, do painting, do something. In my mind, I was trying to help them, motivating them, right? And showing them the way how I did it, and it worked for me. In reality, I was being a fucking pain in everybody's ass. So everybody got annoyed of me. And I didn't understand, right? I was like, how you can fucking get annoyed if I'm trying to push you to be better? Yeah, but nobody could work for me, or that way work for me. It means that work for everybody. But I couldn't see it from inside of when I was acting through that ego life, right? Through the persona that I thought it was the right way to be. And in reality, if I go in front of the judge, God or whatever, he gonna let me inside of heaven, because I was doing good. It's just I was being an asshole about it, but not intentionally an asshole, and I'm not trying to get away with my crime, right? What I'm trying to say is that I thought for sure I was being cool with people. I was helping them, pushing them, and that's not right. I kind of learned later.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, I wish I had somebody like you that pushed me when I was being fucking lazy, right? But some other people say when people push me, it just make me fucking get annoyed of even doing art. I don't want to do shit, right? So it's more about probably trying to learn the ways how people receive the information better. If I'm really trying to get myself in the position that I want to express opinion to somebody about how to do stuff, right? At least take the chance to see if they take it that way, they learn it that way or not, right?
Yeah.
Or don't give information.
And if you have more than one kid, guarantee it's going to be two different ways that you need to handle the same situation with two kids.
My two kids are, it's weird, man, because my wife and I talk about it. They are like the same person, but at the same time, they are very different. So it's something essential in them that they're soft and gentle and nice, beautiful hearts. But they, at the same time, my son is very smart ass and asshole. I wonder where he got it from. And my daughter is more sweet. She's more sweet. So, but then she's so sweet that she get mad. She get mad at how people can be so fucking not sweet. Why you have to bother me, telling me to? She get like overwhelmed, mad, But that lasts like 5 seconds and then she's cool again.
Yeah.
But my son is a pain in the ass. But it's also the big difference, 8 years apart. Yeah, almost 9 years or 8 years apart. So, and she's a teenager. He's a fucking pain in the ass, 9 years old. So, of course, you have always to find a way to be in the middle and teaching. This is your sister. No matter what, you have to be for her. No, now, all your life. This is your job now. You have to be there for her. You don't need to support her, but you need to be there for her, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I try to teach this macho, I don't know if it's macho, this man team probably is the most basic man team, but again, I didn't have a role model, so I'm trying to feel like it's the right way to be. It's like, you and I, we are the boys of the house. We have to take care of our girls. If you are an asshole to her, you're just showing the world that it's okay to be an asshole to her. We're not supposed to allow that shit.
Yeah.
So we show with example to the world how our ladies have to be treated. So I said to her, yeah, be fucking asshole now and then, it's fun. But don't be an asshole that you make her feel bad all the time or aggravated about you or in front of people. Don't call her names or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You don't do that. We don't do that. So it's kind of like that, but they're different. It's crazy shit, man. It's as you say, and you learning. And my daughter, right? Yeah, she's 17, but a minute ago, she was 13 in middle school, and it was a crazy time for her, for us, for everybody, right? She's a good girl, but just the fact of being in that world, when you are not a kid anymore, but you are not a grown-up anymore, and somehow you have to stop acting like a fucking kid by force, right? Yeah. You cannot show up in middle school with your dolls, because like you get destroyed by these other girls or guys or whatever. But you cannot be a grown-up woman because you're a kid. It's just way, right? But somehow you're forced to grow faster. If you're a boy, you cannot be playing tag outside. What the fuck? That's for little girls, for little boys, for little kids, for little this. You know what I mean? So they have to act a little more mature. Now it's soccer and football and whatever and be a little rougher. And so they're forced to don't be kids anymore. But it's a big part of them that still feel like a kid, right? And and they kind of forced to grow, but we are don't wanting to grow too fast. So it's like what I do, right? How I fit with my peers at school, with my friends. I don't want to look like a kid. I want to look like I'm up to the whatever social status I have to show with my age. But at the same time, you know what I mean? I'm not that grown up, so I still have to do stuff as I very mature, So it's rough time there, man.
By the time they start getting in middle school, it's like the oldest the youngest I dropped her off to middle school today, and she was wearing something that I wasn't sure if she would get. To me, the outfit was fine, but could it have gotten like dress coded at school? Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure, so rather than get on her like, hey, you have to change, this isn't okay, I was like, to let them know sometimes you don't know if you have the answer or not, and that's okay too. I just explained, hey, listen, I could see why they could potentially give you a warning for dress code because you had a strap showing or whatever the school's rules are. So if you get approached by a teacher, just know that could happen. We'll handle it when we get there. Yeah. Right? Rather than trying to be like, go back inside and change. Like you need
more if you're not even sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
She gets cool. All the other girls are with that kind of thing. And then now she lose like, you were telling me you were sure, but you weren't sure. You were full of crap. What the fuck?
And as soon as I dropped her off, there was some other girl that was getting out of a car that passed in front that wasn't the same outfit, but possibly could have been dress coded as well. And I said, listen, this is. Before I used to manage my anxiety by controlling everything around me, including my kids, and how they learned and how they developed in the world. Once it could let that go, it's a whole different era because now I'm just kind of like...
And it's a lot more love, right?
Yeah.
And a lot more peace, too.
I've never been as close to the kids as I am now. And, kind of bring it back to what we were talking about at the very beginning, was like you said, you were upset that you didn't get that photo pass for that show. Right. And I had a friend who was going to that show on Sunday and he really wanted me to go. And I just kind of had a feeling like, I don't think I should go. Like, this is kind of like a sign. Like, I didn't get the photo pass. Maybe there's a reason. And sure enough, I just needed to be home that day. But, but because I was home that day, there's a point where all the kids who live at home are gathering in my room.
Oh, you see?
And we're laughing and we're bonding and we're doing stuff. And that moment wouldn't have happened if I had been there. Would have changed the whole course of everything in their lives? No, that particular moment, no. But it's what was needed in the moment right then.
Yeah.
Just gotta
being capable for you to just see it is big,
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even notice. They were home and the kids came to the room and that was they needed it, that presence. You know what I mean? Yeah. They needed to be there.
Now, don't get me wrong. I am on my phone because of photography and using Instagram as my way to reach people and to contact bands and to do everything else that I do or boudoir clients or whatnot. I am on my phone more than most people throughout the day, right? But
teenager level.
Like more than a teenager, I'm on my phone. And I know it. And that's part of the thing is I know I am. But the point I'm making is... But
you are not that.
That's important. The point is I still make time.
Mm-hmm. Quality time for
Quality them. Time to reflect. But quality time for me to think, like you're saying, to just absorb what's going on in the world around me. And so people are wondering, like, how the hell did you go through all this? And you have your career and you're running a business off to the side and you are raising kids and you're going through, how are you even doing it? It's because I make time for myself to enjoy those moments, to be open to those moments, like that concert a year and a half ago where I was like, I need to make a change in my life. Right?
Yeah.
Pause, slow down. Maybe another COVID wouldn't be the worst thing. Knock on wood, because I really don't want another one of those. But
yeah, I don't want that.
But it was a change.
Plus, it was bad for a lot of people. But how we learn, man? Because this is the thing. It happened to me in that moment. I learned a lot of being capable to being for a long period of time without working and understanding that everything's gonna be okay. That was the good thing. Learning to enjoy going in walks with my wife. During that time, we used to walk for like I don't know, like hour and a half walk around a bunch of blocks close to my house. And for me, it was so new walking in the daytime, like at 2 p.m. or something like that. Like random, man, with the sun and seeing the people, the fences, the houses, the new block.
The animals.
No, and things that I was telling my friend earlier that was here when we were testing the setup. I was saying to him, it's like I was walking the same blocks that I drive all the time, but it was a complete different experience of that place. Just like when you're in the sidewalk, you see the tree, or you see the plants, or you see a dog, or you see a house, and you're like, oh, this house, I never noticed this house.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And it's the same street. But when you're driving, of course, your attention is somewhere else. You drive twice by the same street, and you kind of assume that you know everything, and you don't even look around anymore.
Yeah.
And man, in Norwalk, I drive now by the some street that I always drive, and I find houses that I never seen before. And I know the house being there always. Half block from my house, from my house is another house that is very cute, man, with a nice tree outside or curly, whatever. The house look like. The color is like like opaque green or something with beige. It looks very oldie style, but it's very well maintained.
Yeah.
I never noticed that house before, man. And the first time I noticed it because Andres noticed that they have one of those that you take a book and you bring a book outside of the house.
Yeah, like a little library.
So we walked there, Andres and I, because he wanted to change some of his book for whatever it was there. At the end, he didn't find anything for kids, but that was the time. Man, half block from my house, and I was standing in front of the house like, oh, this is a pretty house. I never noticed it before. It's ridiculous, man, the way how, we live in this kind of narrow, fast, always not seeing anything around us. And then you take the moment, slow down a little bit, and just use a little different perspective, and now it's a complete different world. So, yes, COVID helped me with that, right? To appreciate those moments, to be at home with Andres, not just with the amount of... Before COVID, I come home to have dinner, and sometimes I still, back then, used to have my cell phone close in the table and, respond this client, eating dinner. What the fuck is that? Then finish dinner, sit down in the couch with Andres to watch TV and my phone. Let me respond to this person. Man, Kobe helped me with all of that shit. Now I don't use my phone in my house. My phone goes and do not disturb when I leave the shop most of the time, or when I get home, and I put it somewhere and it's there.
Or if I have my phone and
for
a
hours.
kid's coming up to me, I'm just like, listen, I want to listen to you. Let me finish this email. My phone's then going away.
Yeah.
But like to be like, hey, I didn't catch what you said. I want you to know you have my full attention. Just give me 5 minutes, promise.
Mm-hmm. It happens. Sometimes you need to, right? More, again, try to manage your professional career through your phone yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And it's amount of hours that you have. But that is always good to trying to find that space to just get away from that shit.
They notice, man. It is the last thing that I've learned since, because it's been at least a year since we've sat down and chatted like this, is that, wait, what was I going to say? I already forgot. It was that
they
the
notice.
Kids notice everything.
Yeah, man.
Right. And when I was trying to figure out how I was going to manage things and kind of live this new chapter of my life, the advice that I was given was just keep being you. Kids are going to notice everything. And so they're also going to notice when you're not making time for yourself. Mm-hmm. Right. And you want to give the best example to the kids. Give them that example of making time for yourself. Because, I'm not close to my parents anymore, but my dad worked 6 out of 7 days of the week. He owned a medical clinic, and he was working at that clinic 6-7 days of the week. The 7th day was at church.
Oh, wow.
Where he was in the leadership at the church. So
not much hanging out with that little boy.
My example was, it's always go, go, go. Mm-hmm. You have to give all of yourself to your family, your church, and your career.
Yeah.
Cool. Where do you make time for yourself to become a better person out of all that? Yeah. I'm not religious anymore, but the catch-22 and all of that is, you're becoming a better person by
doing good to God.
doing stuff for this religious organization and giving yourself to that and giving yourself to God. And it's like, but you're not giving anything back to yourself. And it's, heard the saying where it's like, if you're going to spend your time filling other people's cups, you got to remember to fill your own cup. Because if I'm just taking my own cup and I'm pouring it
some point
a little bit to everybody else,
empty.
There's eventually you're gonna have nothing left to give. And so I always make sure fill that cup, and it better have Red Bull in it, because if Ryan has a cup of something,
my son don't want me to drink Red Bull anymore.
It's either tequila or Red Bull. It's one of those two.
I know, man. Ryan, thank you, man.
You're welcome, brother.
Thank you for coming by. First episode official of the new podcast setup.
There you go.
Let's cross the finger that everything record properly and we got a good sound, because it was a good conversation.
Yeah,
man.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the good you put into the world. And I've said this to you before, we've known each other. I can't believe we've known each other for about a decade now. But you've been a huge inspiration for me creatively. Right? I don't think even the chapter of my life opening up the photography studio, I would have had the courage to do it if I wasn't the hours we spent sitting in the chair upstairs, getting tattooed, talking shit, and just learning from each other.
Yeah, man.
So I appreciate the influence you've been in for me over the last decade.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do it, so I cannot say like thank you or you're welcome or anything. But I mean, I'm excited that yeah, man. I'm excited that you start doing art too. I was very excited when I saw you start with your boudoir stuff, and I saw you in conventions promoting your work. And I've seen your portfolio; it's amazing, and I'm excited. I've seen also your new stuff with the rock bands and the concert photography. Man, it looks amazing too. Keep it up. Keep doing stuff, man. That's what we have to do, man. There is this beautiful concept in art, and it's that there is no other way. There is no other possible way that anything that you have done existed if you didn't do it.
Mm. Yeah,
nobody else could have taken that photo or do that painting or do that sculpture. Or that. Nobody can have done what you're doing. And this is for everybody, right? It's like we so self-conscious always, like, I'm not that good, I don't do this. And this, man, I'm very terrible with that myself, right? With that demon, right? There is so many ideas I'm exploring. I want to talk to people because I want to challenge my own amount of knowledge about it and get people to challenge me and see how far I am there.
Yeah.
Just for me to find my flaws and keep learning. But I feel always that I'm like, I explore so many things in my life, but I'm not professional of anything. Let's say it that way, right? And we're always self-conscious. Like, I cannot talk too much about this or that, because if I'm not, the point is that, yes, talk about it. Yes, do it. Like, I've seen so many people invest in so many, I don't know, the whole thing of sharing somebody else's paintings or art project or something to make fun of it, like, this is not art, this is just bullshit, people dropping whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand how a lot of people have that opinion, and it's true to you because your opinion, right? Yeah. You live that reality, is you true, right? But there is something else there, man. Any kind of form of art, more this kind of performance art that you drop stuff to see what happens, it's an invitation to think, right? And the beauty of that process of thinking is that it's revealing you. When you think about any piece of art, about what it means to you, even if you think it's dumb or you love it or whatever, that invitation is to express your idea, right? Because this is you, right? And it's valid. You can hate it. But then take that second after, in the private of your own thought, if you want, to think why you had that opinion about that thing, right? So if your opinion is like, I fucking love it, you might have loved it, but why? Did it really say something to you? It remembered you, make you tear in a concert when you were listening to music because it broke something to you? Or you hated it because it's dumb, but why is that so dumb? What is so important to you? This opinion of that's dumb that you have to say.
Who hurt you?
No, but it's the beauty for me, not for me. This is my way to kind of live art, right? The beauty for me is about, I've seen pieces of art, or I've seen people doing things with art, And I noticed myself being an asshole, like, that's just bullshit. And then right away, I like to grab myself and start thinking, why did I dismiss it? Why I was like, that's bullshit. Why that different? Why? You know, why I feel it so bad? What is the amount of knowledge in me that is so certain that my opinion is so true to think that that's bad and that opinion is valid more than the only value that has is my opinion to me, right?
Yeah.
But we express it with such arrogance and these people doing the fucking painting, that's so stupid, so bad. But think about it a little bit, right? Think about even the emotion that caused on you about why I dislike it so much. Why I dislike it to a point to make me feel this way, to spread this opinion. And then when you spend a little time thinking about it, you realize, oh, that's art. Even inviting me to feel hate for a second and make me think about my own ways to perceive my own hate.
Maybe that was the intention the whole time.
Maybe. The whole intention is always about just leave it, right? It's just a piece of something. Just leave it. Hate it, love it, dismiss it, share it, whatever you want to do it. But that's the beauty of the art, that you get to experience something, even if it's hate or even if it's null. But that from the viewer, like the invitation to the viewer, me as a viewer, even of my own work or everybody else's work, that's my invitation to myself as a viewer of art. But as an art doer, it's just this humble, basic, simple situation where what you do, it would have never existed because nobody else can have done it.
And it's not going to exist the same way ever again.
Never.
You know, I know we've been chatting, but this is the last piece because music is so big to me, and musicians are creatives too.
Oh,
right?
The best shit.
And as you're just saying, that capturing that moment, and that Kill Switch Engage concert that I did earlier this month, I have this one picture and I just love it. And one of the guitarists just kind of, hit that chord, and then he brought his guitar up and he made a face, and I don't know if he was looking at me or the crowd behind me. I don't care, but it's a super emotive picture of him. Guess what? He lifted that guitar in that moment in a certain way and put that certain look on his face, and it's in that photo, and that exact thing is never going to ever happen again. Never. He's going to do the same kind of movement again. He's going to do the same this or that, but that moment, his creativeness as a musician to improvise and to do that one thing in that moment, and my ability to capture it in that moment is now frozen in time forever. And that's what I love about photography. And
you see, and that's photography, man. Photography has something so weird on it, right? That it's easy. Like, you can photo with your cell phone. You don't even need to buy an equipment. Nowadays, with a fucking iPhone, you point to something and it helps with the composition, color, contrast, value. It fixes everything for you, man. It's crazy. But the fact that everybody can buy a camera and shoot something, it makes it seem like photography is not an art. You're just taking photos. And we go back to the same thing. And it's this kind of thought that is very normal. I'm not judging the people that have that thought. I just see it, and it's normal. And it's like, oh, even I could do that. Even I can do that. With painting. They see a painting of this splash. Even I can do that. That's the beauty. That's true. That you can do it. There is nothing special about nobody. You can do it. There are some paintings that require so much understanding of techniques and hours to execute perfectly, brush strokes and stuff. That's a lot harder. Okay? For that, you need a lot of training, and still you can do it. There are some levels that you have to be that kind of fucking good together, I guess. I think that not even the 10,000 hours will take you ever there. But the point is that to do art, even to take those photos that you said, it's a photo of a lake. I would have taken the photo. Yeah, that's the beauty. That you can take it. Please go and do it. Because the world needs a lot more art, man. It's a lot of bullshit going on that we need a lot more art. The more art is there, the more people do art, the more people gonna get to experience that sensation of doing something and seeing it there, and will appreciate more other people's art, and maybe everything gonna balance to a more beautiful place, right? Where we are appreciating more of that simple beauty of that thing that is just that representation of somebody else's thought or view of that thing in that particular moment, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's a photo or a painting or a drawing or something that you model or something that you do in a paint and sip class, just do it, man. That's the beauty, right? It doesn't need to be good. It just needs to be come through you.
Just needs to get out of you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, let's go to sleep, man.
Yeah.
Brother, thank you so much
Love
for coming.
Brother.
Today's what, Monday?
Monday.
Maybe tomorrow I'll post this one.
Yeah.
Not tonight. I'm tired. My brain is tired.
Get some sleep.
I'll let you know when I post it.
Yeah,
Hopefully you're going to go smooth. Thank you again for coming. Sorry to the people that kind of have to listen to our nonsense or hopefully somebody find anything of value here. Maybe a comment to let us know. Maybe a message in private to let us know or whatever, man.
Yeah.
Let's just try to see what surprises this crazy time comes.
I'm all about it.
All right, man.
All right.
Let me.
Yep.